Israel's military has halted leave for all of its combat units amid fears that Iran will strike in revenge for an attack on its Syrian embassy last week. The military said, quote, in accordance with the situational assessment, it has been decided that leave will be temporarily paused for all IDF combat units. The IDF is at war and the deployment of forces is under continuous assessment according to requirements, end quote. The Army is also drafting extra reservists for air defense units. GPS services over major cities have been disrupted in an apparent measure meant to ward off guided missiles, according to reports. Iran has vowed revenge for a suspected Israeli airstrike on Tehran's embassy in Damascus. At least 7 people were killed, including General Mohammad Reza Zahedi, a senior commander in the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, believed to oversee Iran's operations in Syria and Lebanon. Let's bring in international law expert Livingstone Wiche. He joins me to discuss these developments. Good to have you join us. All right, so this was the highest rank killing since the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani in January 2022. Talk to us about how significant this killing was and the implications of that attack on the Iranian consulate.
Well, this is a further escalation of the war between what can best be described as Israel at war with its neighbors, instigated by Hamas. You know, this particular incident is beginning to generate so much controversy because of the want of direct evidence of the target. The Iranians have claimed that the particular facility is a diplomatic or a consulate, whereas Israel is saying it's a military facility, because in this particular rule of engagement, as it were, the 3 exempted facilities are civilian facilities, consulates, and then diplomatic facilities. Only military facilities can be targeted because these are the 2 opposing forces. The civilian facilities or the diplomatic ones, or the consulate as well, are not armed. So the recent incident brings to the fore the direct confrontation between Iran and Israel, which has long been avoided by Iran, because commentaries have come up to state that the attempt by Iran to avoid a direct confrontation with Israel, and particularly the United States, has pushed Iran to the wall by this particular incident, because Israel continues to insist we did not attack any consulate, whereas Iran is saying that that particular consulate in Damascus has its national flag on it. So it is going to result in a level of escalation, particularly knowing the principal character in this particular alleged attack, who is said to be a very ranking official in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And from the record, it is said that this particular fellow has been responsible for the movement of arms supplied to the allies of Iran, between Iraq down to Lebanon and then Palestine, particularly the Hezbollah and Hamas forces, because it is believed that Hamas is being funded and equipped by Iran, and Iran is not denying it either. So Israel is beginning to target sources, not just depots, but sources from where facilities that are used by its enemies are coming from. And Iran is seen as one of those major forces. So the worry now would be, now that Iran is insisting on a reciprocity of this particular attack, will it not lead to a regional war?
And that's where, you know, that was going to be my very next question to you, because we know that Iran is still reeling from the death or the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. And now another of his general has also been killed. How is Iran likely to react to this? And again, I was going to ask you if the Middle East is now on the edge of a precipice.
Definitely, it's on the edge of a precipice, even though they have not also given up on the fact that they have a history with Israel in terms of Israel's own form of responses to any form of threat by its neighbors, because the Israeli state is the only Jewish state. So Israel on earth, Israel is doing everything to protect its own territory and interests. So the only option for Iran is to now begin to target Israel's diplomatic representations around the world, maybe in Europe, in Southern America, in the Arab world, and so on and so forth. And if Iran takes on that particular dimension, it will further escalate into a global conflict, because that is one of the concerns that watchers have, that these developments may trigger a global or a globalized conflict, because it's now taking a tone, knowing that under international laws, when you attack a diplomatic facility, for instance, an embassy of Egypt in Nigeria, it is as good as attacking an Egyptian territory in an Egyptian soil, because every diplomatic facility, whether be it a high commission or an embassy or a consulate, as it were, wherever they are located, they are seen under international laws as territories of those states, whether that is their home ground or not. So there is a ground swelling towards a possible attack on Israeli diplomatic consulate representations around the world.
And the dimension that attack may take is what a lot of watchers of the Middle East are worried about, and if this will become an escalation. And I know that you're watching as well.
It will become unmanageable, because there is no way this type of escalation will take place without the United States backing Israel.
We will continue
so Russia
to watch,
and China on this other side will also end up backing Iran and its allies. So it will be an alliance.
It will be, but we're hoping that this is managed, or there are back channel diplomacy going on at the moment. Hopefully.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for talking to us as always. Always a pleasure to have you on. International law expert Livingston Wechi.